Hi everyone, we're back with another video. We're going to still talk about the cardiovascular system, and we're going to look at how the cardiovascular system actually collaborates with the other systems of the body, because remember that no system stands alone. This diagram here actually shows how the cardiovascular/circulatory system interacts with the other 10 systems of the body, because remember we have 11 systems. And I'm going to go through each one so we can learn a little bit on how they collaborate. So we know when we eat food, our digestive system breaks down food into nutrients. Now there are a lot of capillaries that are found within the GI tract or the digestive system. And how the cardiovascular system interacts with the digestive system is that it actually will provide nutrients that the circulatory system can pick up, because in the intestines we have microvilli that can help with the diffusion of nutrients that's going through. The digestive system also provides the essential nutrients that's needed to build components of the blood like hemoglobin. And remember, hemoglobin is important for oxygen and carbon dioxide transport. Now, I can't speak enough about how the circulatory system is so critical when it comes to the endocrine system that we see here. So remember, the endocrine system are a series of organs that are found throughout the body, like the thyroid. We have the pituitary gland that's in the brain. We have the adrenal glands. There's so many different endocrine glands. And remember, a lot of them secrete hormones into the blood to look for a target cell for a response to happen. So it's really important to know that the circulatory system, or cardiovascular, aids in transport of hormones. But also, if your blood pressure is high or if you have high blood volume, your heart itself, which is a part of the cardiovascular system, can secrete peptides known as atrial natriuretic peptides or atrial natriuretic hormone. We actually discussed this in the endocrine video, but that kind of regulates the other systems of the body, like the angiotensin, aldosterone system, as well as the antidiuretic hormone. All right, so let's see how the cardiovascular system collaborates with the integumentary system and also the lymphatic system that we see here. Now, the integumentary system, you're probably wondering, how in the world can the cardiovascular system help the integumentary system, which is the hair, skin, and nails? Well, if you have a cut and your cut is bleeding, the blood contains clotting factors, such as fibrinogen, and then you also have platelets. They can come together to form a meshwork to help the healing process. In addition, in your blood, you have white blood cells that can come to the site of the infection to fight the infection. And there's other proteins and other things that can come to the site. Now, we also have the cardiovascular system that can help with another thing with the integumentary.
Right. It helps with temperature, elevated temperatures. And one thing that it does is it increases blood flow to the skin when you have elevated temperature. The way it helps is because once you have the heat building up in the body, by bringing more blood to the skin, that heat can radiate away from the body, thus cooling the body. It also helps when you sweat, because as the sweat evaporates due to the heat being brought to the surface of the skin, the evaporation of that sweat then takes the heat away from the body as well.
Right. And also, if you take a look at the picture here, you see that there are blood vessels that are running, supplying the different structures found in the dermis, which is very important to note. Now, regarding the lymphatic system and immune system kind of goes hand in hand. You know, the lymphatic is more of like, let's clear the debris out the system type of system, but it also aids with the white blood cells. So, you know, we have those phagocytic white blood cells that can scavenge and eat things that should not be there. In addition, the blood also has the B and T cells, which play a critical role in the adaptive immunity. So like the B cells produce antibodies, which are major fighters for you. And the immune system and lymphatic, remember, work together.
So the cardiovascular system helps with reproduction, and it does this by allowing arousal. And once arousal happens, male and females respond differently. For men, there's an erection of the penis, and also for women, there's also an erection of the clitoris. The clitoris is also an erectile tissue, which is benefited from the cardiovascular system. Now, arousal isn't where it stops. And so climax also happens because of the cardiovascular system, because hormones like oxytocin that contribute to orgasm are taken throughout the bloodstream and allows that process to occur. The respiratory system, very, very, very critical. The respiratory system works with the cardiovascular system because the cardiovascular system delivers oxygen to all the organs, cells, and tissues of the body. Well, how does the oxygen get into the blood? Well, you have the oxygen going and collecting in the alveolar sacs, and then surrounding the alveolar sacs, you have capillaries, which then get the oxygen from the lungs. From there, it goes back to the heart and then is delivered to the body through the systemic circulation. So the respiratory system works hand in hand with the cardiovascular system, and that basically keeps all the other systems functioning at peak performance.
All right, so when we talk about the muscular system and the cardiovascular system, they pretty much help each other out. We know that the cardiovascular system, like the heart, can pump blood around with the oxygen that the muscles need, the skeletal muscles. They need oxygen to undergo metabolism. And, metabolism is a catabolic reaction that will end up with ATP production. All right, so the question is, how can the muscular system help the cardiovascular system? That kind of sounds a little bit weird. It really isn't weird because the veins do not have a lot of force of the blood flowing through. And because of that, they have valves, but the valves aren't enough to keep the blood going through. So the muscular system, the skeletal muscle, actually helps to provide pressure to prevent the blood from back flowing. Also, the muscular system, particularly the skeletal muscle, will help you to move around and exercise, which helps to prevent heart disease and other things that can happen.
Okay, the cardiovascular system is also critical for the nervous system. And I know this sounds like a broken record because basically all tissues need oxygen, but that's why it's so important. Even the nerves and nerve tissue need oxygen and nutrients. And so the cardiovascular system is very critical for the nervous system to function. Now, the nervous system works with the cardiovascular system as well because it can stimulate the heart to either beat faster, to beat stronger, to increase blood flow. And it also takes cues from the medulla, which keeps the heart beating.
Right, so the cardiovascular system helps the skeletal system and vice versa. All right, so the blood that is a part of the cardiovascular system will help to circulate the minerals and nutrients that the bone needs, like calcium and phosphates and other minerals to kind of help strengthen the bone. Also, the hormones that's involved in either calcium being released from the bone or calcium going back into the bone, or to have growth of the bone. The cardiovascular system will help with the signaling or the sending of the hormones through the system to allow these to occur. Now, how can the bone contribute to the cardiovascular system? Well, the long bones, such as the femur, actually is the center where that has the stem cells to make the blood cells that is needed. So it does feed back into making the erythrocytes that's essential for blood cells.
It also is very critical for protection. The rib cage surrounds the heart and protects it from damage.
All right, so here we have the urinary system or the excretory system. This is an actual very important system of the body because we have a lot of waste that builds up in our system just from eating food, from metabolism, and we don't want it accumulating in our body. So one thing that the blood does is bring these wastes to the kidneys to actually get filtered out. And you can see that there are blood vessels here. Now, another way how the cardiovascular system collaborates with the kidneys, which is a part of the urinary system, is that it can send hormones out, like I mentioned, the atrial natriuretic peptides or the hormones to help regulate some of the other hormones that will allow water to be reabsorbed back or not to be reabsorbed back by the kidneys.
The kidney also does something unique. It's one of the few organs that can autoregulate itself. So it helps the cardiovascular system by making slight changes in blood volume and blood pressure. Because if the pressure falls too low, oxygen delivery and blood flow is compromised, basically to everywhere in the body. However, the coronary arterial supply to the heart is also compromised. So the heart itself would not receive the proper amounts of oxygen for function.
Yes, that's very important. Okay, so quiz time. Let's just see if you remember how the cardiovascular system associates or collaborates with the other systems of the body. So the first one, the circulatory system or cardiovascular system is important in supporting the other systems of the body. Is that true or false? Automatically, you should have said true, because we just went through every single system and we spoke about how the cardiovascular system is important. The circulatory cardiovascular system absorbs nutrients from this system and brings it to the other parts of the body. Now, I didn't put the choices here for a reason, because you should be able to recall this from memory. All right, so circulatory system absorbing nutrients. Where does the nutrients come from? If you said digestive system, you are correct. Okay, remember the digestive system breaks down food into nutrients. The circulatory/cardiovascular system will bring hormones to their target cells. Which system is working along with the cardiovascular system? So remember, hormones have to be brought to target cells. Which system am I talking about? The endocrine system. Endocrine system is the hormone system, and you can't have hormones being brought to different parts of the body unless there is blood present. The cardiovascular system works with this system to filter and purify the blood. All right, so which system is the cardiovascular system working with to filter and purify? If you say urinary or excretory, you are correct. All right, the cardiovascular system works with this system to provide oxygen for the blood, which is then brought to the other systems. All right, so which system would the cardiovascular system work with that could provide it with oxygen that can then be brought around the body? Hopefully you picked respiratory system, right? Because you remember the respiratory system, oxygen comes into the lungs, and you have the alveoli sac where the capillaries, and you have an exchange of gas. Hopefully you got 100% on the quiz. As you can see, the circulatory/cardiovascular system is very important in collaborations with the other systems of the body. And if you have any questions regarding this, please put it in the comment or let us know how you did on the quiz or what you learned. Thanks.